Continuing with this fascinating book, The Selected Letters of D.H. Lawrence. We've already read the introduction as written by Aldous Huxley and moved through batches of the letters to get to this stage. Right now, I'm going to start with letter 51. To Catherine Carswell, Zena, St Ives, Cornwall, 11th May 1917. My dear Catherine, there isn't any news either about the reality of peace or anything else. Only Esther Andrews has gone back to London, so I expect you will be seeing her soon. We are having very beautiful weather, so hot and bright. I have never seen anything so beautiful as the gorse this year, and the blackthorn. The gorse blazes in sheets of yellow fire, and the blackthorn is like white smoke, filling the valley bed. Primroses and violets are full out, and the bluebells are just coming. It is very magnificent and royal. The sun is just sinking in a flood of gold. One would not be astonished to see the cherubim flashing their wings and coming towards us from the west. All the time one seems to be expecting an arrival from the beyond, from the heavenly world. The sense of something, someone magnificent approaching is so strong. It is a wonder one does not see visions in the heavens. I was glad to hear that the novel was going. When it is done, you will send it me, won't you? It will be really something overcome, a phase surpassed in you when the book is finished. I'm not doing anything except garden just now. Yesterday I began to type out the peace articles. I want another copy, and I was recasting the second one. But suddenly I felt as if I was going dotty, straight out of my mind, so I left off. One can only wait and let the crisis come and go. My gardens are so lovely, everything growing in rows, and so fast. Such nice green rows of all kinds of young things. It looks like a triumph of life in itself. But these need rain. We are very dry on these slopes. Frida is in much better health these last 2 days. She sends her love. I hope the eggs won't get broken. Send the box back and you can have some more. I'm glad Don is all right. I'm sure the war will end soon. I wonder if I am a bit dotty. D.H. Lawrence. No news yet of the desk. Please send me the bill for packing. You are poor now. Letter 52. To Edward Marsh, Zena, St Ives, Cornwall, 26 June 1917. Dear Eddie, thank you very much for the cheque for £7.15. It is a nice sum, and Georgian poetry is a good goose. Her egg is much appreciated, and I hope she will live forever. I got myself rejected again at Bodmin on Saturday. Cursed the loathsome performance. As for flourishing, I should like to flourish a pistol under the nose of those the governors. They make one spit with disgust. Only let the skies break, and we will flourish on top of the times, and the timekeepers, and the time servers. Yours, D.H. Lawrence. Letter 53. To Lady Cynthia Asquith. Zeno, St Ives, Cornwall, 12th October 1917. My dear Lady Cynthia, now comes another nasty blow. The police have suddenly descended on the house, searched it, and delivered us a notice to leave the area of Cornwall by Monday next. So on Monday we shall be in London, staying, if possible, care of Mrs. Radford, 32 Well Walk, Hampstead, N.W. This bolt from the blue has fallen this morning. Why, I know not, any more than you do. I cannot even conceive how I have incurred suspicion, have not the faintest notion. We are as innocent even of pacifist activities, let alone spying of any sort, as the rabbits in the field outside. And we must leave Cornwall and live in an unprohibited area and report to the police. It is very vile. We have practically no money at all. I don't know what we shall do. At any rate, we shall be in London Monday evening. You can see us if you feel like it during the week. This order comes from W. Weston, Major General in Charge Administration, South Command, Salisbury. They have taken away some of my papers, I don't know what. It is all very sickening and makes me very weary. I hope things are all right with you. D. H. Lawrence. Letter 54 to Cecil Gray. 44 Mecklenburgh Square, WC1, Wednesday. You're only half right about the disciples and the alabaster box. If Jesus had paid more attention to Magdalene and less to his disciples, it would have been better. It was not the ointment pouring which was so devastating, but the discipleship of the 12. As for me and my women, I know what they are and aren't, and though there is a certain messiness, there is a further reality. Take away the subservience and feet-washing, and the pure understanding between the Magdalene and Jesus went deeper than the understanding between the disciples and Jesus, or between Jesus and the Bethany women. But Jesus himself was frightened of the knowledge which subsisted between the Magdalene and him, a knowledge deeper than the knowledge of Christianity and good, deeper than love anyhow. And both you and Frida need to go one world deeper in knowledge. As for spikenard, if I chance to luxuriate in it, it is, by the way, not so very philippically filthy either, not that it matters. I don't mind a bit being told where I am wrong, not by you or anybody I respect. Only you don't seem to be going for me in anything where I am really wrong. A bit Pharisaic, both of you and Frida, external. It seems to me there is a whole world of knowledge to forsake, a new, deeper, lower one to entemer. And your hatred of me, like Frida's hatred of me, is your cleavage to a world of knowledge and being which you ought to forsake, which, by organic law, you must depart from or die. And my women represent, in an impure and unproud, subservient, cringing, bad fashion, I admit, but represent none the less the threshold of a new world, or underworld, of knowledge and being. And the Hebridean songs, which represent you and Frida in this, are songs of the damned, that is, songs of those who inhabit an underworld, which is forever an underworld, never to be made open and whole. And you would like us all to inhabit a suggestive underworld, which is never revealed or opened, only intimated, only felt between the initiated. I won't have it. The old world must burst. The underworld must be open and whole, a new world. You want an emotional, sensuous underworld like Frida and the Hebrideans. My women want an ecstatic, subtly intellectual underworld like the Greeks. Orphicism, like Magdalene at her feet washing, and there you are. D. H. Lawrence. Letter 55 to Cecil Gray. Chapel Farm Cottage, Hermitage, near Newbury, Berks. How are you finding Bozigran? If you've got back there, of course. I hope it is nice. Now the weather is soft and sunny. I wrote to Captain Short to say I wouldn't keep on the cottages at Tregethen. Also, I wrote to William Henry to tell him the same news. But I have not quite yet decided what to do about the furniture. My sister gets furious if I say we may not go near her, yet she does not find us a house. On the other hand, there are 2 charming cottages here, one down in a little village, fast asleep for ever, a cottage just under the hill, under the hazelwoods, with its garden backing to the old churchyard, where the sunny, grey, square-towered church dozes on without rousing. The other on the hill touching the wood. Frida, of course, is dying for one of these, and when we were down in Hampstead Norris yesterday, I quite shook with panic, lest we shall actually go and take the cottage under the hill by the church. A real panic comes over me when I feel I am on the brink of taking another house. I truly wish I were a fox or a bird, but my ideal now is to have a caravan and a horse and move on forever and never have a neighbour. This is real after-the-war ideal. There is a gypsy camp near here, and how I envy them. Down a sandy lane under some pine trees. I find here one is soothed with trees. I never knew how soothing trees are. Many trees and patches of open sunlight and tree presences. It is almost like having another being. At the moment the thought of the sea makes me verily shudder. I ebb along with the American essays, which are in their last and final form. In them I have got it all off my chest. I shall never write another page of philosophy or whatever it is when these are done. Thank God for that. Yet it is absolutely necessary to get it out, fix it, and have a definite foothold to be sure. Of course, I think the world ought to hold up its hands in marvelling thankfulness for such profound and relieving exposition. And of course I see the world doing it. It is very spring-like. In spite of the fact that I think the war will last forever, I believe this particular war with Germany won't last so very much longer on our part. Not that it matters. All the world, people won't alter, and they won't die in sufficient quantities to matter. I have come to think that it is enough to lapse along pleasantly with the days. It is very nice. That is why the cottage in the village fills me with such panic. I believe I could go into a soft sort of hardy sleep, hearing the church chime from hour to hour, watching the horses at the farm drink at the pond, writing pages that seemed beautifully important, and having visits from people who seemed all wrong, as coming from the inferior outer world. But no doubt some new sword of Damocles is just spinning to drop on one's head. I don't know why you and I don't get on very well when we are together, but it seems that we don't. It seems we are best apart. You seem to go winding on in some sort of process that just winds me in the other direction. You might just tell me when you think your process is ended, and we'll look at each other again. Meanwhile, you dance on in some sort of sensuous dervish dance that winds my brain up like a ticking bomb. God save us, what a business it is even to be acquainted with another creature. But I suppose one day we might hit it off. Be quick and wind yourself to the end. The only thing I don't seem to be able to stand is the presence of anybody else. Barring Frida, sometimes. Perhaps I shall get over it. I shall ask if you want any help at Tregarthen in the removing. Meanwhile, adieu. Frida greets you. D. H. Lawrence. But I do loathe possessing things and having another house. If only one could be an animal with a thick, warm hide and never a stitch or rag besides. Nobody ought to own houses or furniture any more than they own the stones of the high road. Letter 56 to Cecil Gray. Chapel Farm Cottage, Hermitage, near Newbury, Berks, 18 April 1918. My dear Grigio, I was up in the Midlands for a week last week, my sister negotiating for a little place for us, a bungalow on the brow of the steep valley at Viegelia, near Cromford. We should have it furnished for a year. My sister would pay for it, if the people agree to let. It is a nice place, with pleasant little grounds and 2 rough fields. We should hear in a day or 2 about it, and then, if the people let it us, we shall go in a week or 10 days' time. It is quite open and free. You would have to come and see us there. Frida went to London and saw her children, and it all went off quite pleasantly and simply, apparently. I feel unsettled here now, as if we must move soon. And we must move. The Radfords want to come here in May. I have made a little book of poems that Beaumont asked me for, all smallish, lyrical pieces. I have been doing poetry for a few weeks now. I want to make a second little book. But it is exhausting to keep it up. The first book has 18 poems. It more or less refers to the war and is called Bay. I don't know if Beaumont will really do it. The second would be different. I would call it Chorus of Women or something like that. That's all the news, except that yesterday there was deep snow. though the trees are in bloom. Plum trees and cherry trees full of blossoms look so queer in a snow landscape. Their lovely foamy fullness goes a sort of pinky drab, and the snow looks fiendish in its cold incandescence. I hated it violently. I hope we shan't be bothered by the military. I believe, as a matter of fact, they have too bad an opinion of us. Let us hope so. I don't believe, moreover, that they will have the energy to comb out all those things that stick at all tight. There is a great exhaustedness coming. Richard Aldington sent me a line to say he was off to France. I believe he was glad to go. It is harder to bear the pressure of the vacuum over the here than the stress of congestion over there. I am reading Gibbon. I'm quite happy with those old Roman emperors. They were so out and out. They just did as they liked and vogue la galère till they were strangled. I can do with them. I also read 2 ponderous tomes on Africa by a German called Frobenius. He says there was a great West African Zomban civilization which preceded Egypt and Carthage and gave rise to the Atlantis myth. But he is a tiresome writer. Let us hear from you. D.H.L. Letter 57. To Lady Cynthia Asquith. Mountain Cottage, Middleton by Wirksworth, Derby. 3rd June 1918. I dreamed of you so hard a few days ago, so must write, though there is no news to send. We are here with my sister and 2 children, a very delightful boy of 3 and a girl of 7. I am surprised how children are like barometers to their parents' feelings. There is some sort of queer magnetic psychic connection, something a bit fatal, I believe. I feel all the time I am rescuing my nephew and my niece from their respective mothers, my 2 sisters, who have jaguars of wrath in their souls, however they purr to their offspring. The phenomenon of motherhood in these days is a strange and rather frightening phenomenon. I dreamed also such a funny dream. When I had been to some big crowded fair somewhere, where things were to sell, on booths and on the floor, as I was coming back down an open road, I heard such a strange crying overhead, in front, and looking up I saw, not very high in the air above me, but higher than I could throw, 2 pale spotted dogs, crouching in the air, and mauling a bird that was crying loudly. I ran fast forwards and clapped my hands, and the dogs started back. The bird came falling to earth. It was a young peacock, blue all over like a peacock's neck, very lovely. It still kept crying, but it was not much hurt. A woman came running out of a cottage not far off and took the bird, saying it would be all right. So I went my way. That dream is, in some oblique way or other, connected with your aura, but I can't interpret it. Would you really like to come here? It is a nice place, really. You'd like it. But I feel as if I were on a sort of ledge halfway down a precipice and did not know how to get up or down. And it's a queer kind of place to ask visitors to see you, such a ledge. I signed the agreement for the poems. When proofs come, I'll send them to you, and you can tell me at once if there is anything you'd like different. But they're all right. Poor Wibbly, he's so good trying to get that money for me. Will it come off? I hope so. But if not, never bother. D.H.L. Letter 58. To Donald Carswell. Mountain Cottage, Middleton by Wirksworth, Derby. Sunday, 1st September, 1918. Dear Don, we got home quite nicely last evening, but a terrible crush in the train from Gloucester to Derby. It seems very quiet here, strangely quiet, though the rain or the wind blusters and the rain beats on this little house. We were very happy with you after the malaise of the first tumbling into that forest of Lidbrook, which for some reason is curiously upsetting. You were both awfully nice to us. It leaves a warm feeling. I hope you will be able to come here. I loved the walk to Simmons Yett, particularly through that parky place. Also the Monmouth Day. Particularly the church by the Monnow Bridge, the bright sunny town, and the tears in one's inside because there isn't real peace. And then, very nice, the meal in the Green Riding. Also our evenings. They are good memories, worth a lot, really. And it pleases me that we carried the child about. One has the future in one's arms, so to speak, and one is the present. If you would care to, I would read the essays I left with Catherine. You will say I repeat myself, that I don't know the terms of real philosophy, and that my terms are empty, the empty self. So don't write these things to me. I know them beforehand, and they make me cross. Nonetheless, read the essays and see if you find anything in them. I imagine you in that vicarage room this evening. No more "What are the wild waves saying" for a bit. But I hope you'll come here in a fortnight. Love from us both to Catherine and you and little J.P. D. H. Lawrence. Letter 59. To Catherine Mansfield, care of Mrs. Clark, Grosvenor Road, Ripley, near Derby, Friday, 27 December 1918. My dear Catherine, we got your parcel on Christmas morning. We had started off on the brow of the hill when the postman loomed round the corner over the snow. It was all white and snowy and sunny, with a wind like an axe. I floated out my hanky for a flag over the snow, and Frida dropped the tangerines in her anxiety to get the wheat sheaf unwrapped, and it was terribly cold and windy just on that edge. Frida's wheat sheaf looked so strange, such a queer, indescribable darkish colour, somehow elephant, over the snow, which is so candid in comparison. It was queer, and like Africa, and a bit like a meteor. She has worn it on her yellow slip, with the red silk shirt and red coat, at our 2 parties here. But I can't get used to it now. It seems like the little torch or brand of elephant grey, tropical, lush twilight. Funny how things disturb one. But my hanky fluttered very nice and lively. I wish you could have been there on the hill summit. The valley all white and hairy with trees below us, and grey with rocks. And just around us, on our side, the grey stone fences drawn in a network over the snow, all very clear in the sun. We ate the sweets and slithered downhill, very steep and tottering. The children had the tangerines and the fan. We read your letter in the wind, dropping down to Cromford. It made me feel weary that we couldn't all be there with rucksacks. I'd got mine on, setting off for somewhere good over the snow. It is disappointing, and unless one decorates one house for oneself alone, best leave it bare, for other people are all wall-eyed. I do so want to get out of England, really out of Europe, and I will get out. We must do it. There was hardly any snow in the valley, all green, with the yewberries still sprinkling the causeway. At Ambergate, my sister had sent a motor car for us, so we were at Ripley in time for turkey and Christmas pudding. My God, what masses of food here! Turkey, large tongues, long wall of roast loin of pork, pork pies, sausages, mince pies, dark cakes covered with almonds, cheesecakes, lemon tarts, jellies, endless masses of food, with whiskey, gin, port wine, burgundy, muscatel. It seems incredible. We played charades, the old people of 67 playing away harder than the young ones, and lit the Christmas tree and drank healths and sang and roared, Lord above. If only one hadn't all the while a sense that next week would be the same dreariness as before. What a good party we might have had we felt really free of the world. We had a second turn too yesterday, and at 11:30 went roaring off in the dark wind to Dr. Feroza's. He is a Parsi. And we drank 2 more bottles of muscatel and danced in his big empty room till we were staggered, and quite dazed. Tonight we are going back to Middleton. I feel infuriated to think of the months ahead, when one waits paralysed for some sort of release. I feel caged somehow, and I cannot find out how to earn enough to keep us, and it maddens me. Still, it might be very much worse. One might be tied tight to a job or to a sickness. I do wish you were better, but you sound stronger. I long to make plans, new plans, but not Europe. Oh God! I pledge you the days to come. D.H.L. Letter 60. To Catherine Mansfield. Middleton, Sunday, 9th of Feb, 1919. I send you I Promessi Sposi and Peru. I thought you would like the other two. I'm very fond of George Sand. Have read only François Le Champy and Maître Sonneur and Villemer. I liked Maître Sonneur immensely. Have you any George Sand? And Mary Mann is quite good, I think. It is marvellous weather. Brilliant sunshine on the snow, clear as summer, slightly golden sun, distance lit up. But it is immensely cold, everything frozen solid. Milk, mustard, everything. Yesterday I went out for a real walk. I've had a cold and been in bed. I climbed with my niece to the bare top of the hills. Wonderful to see the footmarks on the snow, beautiful ropes of rabbit prints trailing away over the brows. Heavy hair marks, a fox, so sharp and dainty going over the wall. Birds with 2 feet that hop. Very splendid straight advance of a pheasant. Wood pigeons that are clumsy and move in flocks. Splendid little leaping marks of weasels, coming along like a necklace chain of berries. Odd little filigree of the field mice. The trail of a mole. It is astonishing what a world of wild creatures one feels round one, on the hills, in the snow. From the height it is very beautiful. The upland is naked, white like silver, and moving far into the distance, strange and muscular, with gleams like skin. Only the wind surprises one, invisible cold. The sun lies bright on a field, like the movement of a sleeper. It is strange how insignificant in all this life seems. 2 men, tiny as dots, move from a farm on a snow slope, carrying hay to the beasts. Every moment they seem to melt like insignificant spots of dust. The sheer, living, muscular white of the uplands absorbs everything. Only there is a tiny clump of trees, bare on the hilltop, small beeches, writhing like iron in the blue sky. I wish one could cease to be a human being and be a demon. Allzu menschlich. My sister Emily is here with her little girl, whose birthday it is today. Emily is cooking treacle, roly, and cakes. Frida is making Peggy a pale grey dress. I am advising and interfering. Pamela is lamenting because the eggs in the pantry have all frozen and burst. I have spent half an hour hacking ice out of the water tub. Now I am going out. Peggy, with her marvellous red gold hair in dangling curl rags, is darting about, sorting the coloured wools and cottons. Saint de famille. It is beautiful to cross the field to the well for drinking water. Such pure sun. And Slayley, the tiny village away across, sunny as Italy in its snow. I expect Willie Hopkin will come today. Well, life itself is life. Even the magnificent frost foliage on the window. While we live, let us live. D.H.L. Emily's nickname was Pamela, or Virtue Rewarded.